record button. And let's get this puppy rocking. Hi everyone, my name is Adrian. I'm the CEO and founder of Groundhogg, and welcome to another session of Office Hours. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about world events. We are currently living in what I would, hesitate to call uncertain times. And there's a lot of uncertainty and fear currently traveling around the world. And I wanted to share some of my thoughts on that, and also hear some of what you are doing and how you are handling the ongoing crisis. So before we get started and delve right deep into that, first of all, this is an office hour session. It is meant to answer your questions and provide you guidance and insight. So please, at any point, feel free to comment and join the chat. If even it's just to say hello, just go ahead and do that so I can know that you're with me. And at any point, if you have a question, also feel free to pop that in here. I have all of those comments coming through my live feed so I can read them and then reread them in real time and provide you with feedback. And I see Mark is with me, Matt's with me. Hi, Mark, and hi, Matt. Thank you for joining me. So just so you know, office hours, including this one, will be recorded and will be put on the Groundhogg Academy site. At any point, you can go and watch previous office hours, as well as watch a replay of this office hours if you want to. And just an exciting little announcement. I just wanted to share something that we were working on. We received a lot of feedback over the course of the last year and a half about our dashboard reporting, and we are working really, really hard on making that whole kind of reporting experience just significantly better, providing for engaged contacts, unsubscribe rates, and all of this good stuff that you'd expect from a high-quality CRM. So currently, we are working on better reporting to provide you more insights and recommendations in order to help you make more informed decisions about your marketing and your business in general. So that is coming in an update soon. No ETA yet. It's still in very, very, very early kind of alpha stages, but we're working hard on that. So you could expect that sometime in the future. So there is hope for better reporting. But let's jump into what this office hours is really about, and it's about how we create certainty in uncertain times. And I had a few thoughts on that. I guess let's just jump into it. So the first thought that I had is, especially for businesses, oftentimes in times of crisis and uncertainty, small businesses make up the vast majority of the workforce as well as the economy. For example, in Canada, 80% of the economy is powered by small businesses and small business employment, small business purchases, etc. Businesses and small business in Canada is anyone under like 500 employees or something like that. And when all of these small businesses have such an impact, whatever they do tends to drive the public perception and the economy and anything. And most of us in this little community here are small businesses. So it's important that you do your part in order to kind of keep everybody level-headed and to really focus on completing your mission and staying on mission. When you lose focus, your customers will also lose focus and inevitably flee. So you want to make sure that as you're going through your daily operations, things may change. A lot of businesses have to go remote. A lot of businesses are changing their product lines, but you should never lose focus on your mission. And your mission may be to help small businesses. It may be to provide for a charitable cause. It may be whatever, but whatever it is, you have to continue focusing and driving forward on that particular mission, as that will be a source of stability for those of you, or for those followers that you have, those customers that you have. Which leads me into the next point. You have to be an anchor. Small businesses are often the anchors of their community. They provide stability. They provide a safe haven. They provide so many things. And a lot of your customers, a lot of your tribe are going to be looking for someone to provide them guidance, to tell them that things are going to be okay. And again, for that continuous mission to move forward, because that's, what once you kind of like drop the ball and you say, all right, listen, everybody else is bailing, so I'm going to bail too, then you're going to lose the attention and the pull that you have from that audience. Just a quick one in there. Love thy neighbor. I highly recommend that if you live in a smaller community, even in a smaller sub-community, maybe an apartment building, you go ahead and you check in on your neighbors and you just make sure that they're doing okay. Your business mission can also leak into your personal mission to help other people get through crises. Your leadership does not have to extend solely to your customers, but it can extend to friends and family as well. And by providing or just checking in, you are asserting yourself as kind of that leadership role and letting them know that if they need anything, you have their back. Even if you don't necessarily have the means to financially support somebody, that doesn't necessarily mean you can support them in other ways, emotionally, physically moving boxes if even need be. Something that's been coming up, a reoccurring theme, has been other businesses that we as small businesses rely on making big changes. So one of the things that I'd like to stress is, in order to future-proof your business for long-term growth and for continuous longevity, one of the things I've noticed is that you should absolutely own your platform. Groundhogg allows you to own your platform, your CRM, your email marketing. But owning your platform is just such a huge part of it. Amazon basically banned a large category of sellers from selling on their platform, and they also are basically stopping all delivery by Amazon or Amazon fulfillment services. And now those people who are using those services or are dependent on those services are currently no longer able to use them. Therefore, they have to seek out alternative options. And this is a big example of being dependent on your own platform from the get-go, and outlines the advantages of having self-hosted tools like Groundhogg or like Lift Your LMS, WordPress, etc. So again, just stressing that owning your own platform in times of crisis can often mean that you are protected from any kind of outside external sources that may have a negative impact on your business. John says, leadership is inspiration to action and doesn't require authority. And I think that's extremely true. By virtue of offering help and inspiration to those in your local community, automatically asserts yourself and provides you with a certain level of authority, but certainly asserts yourself as a leadership role, and you will start to see people who follow those who offer help to others. Leaders are just supposed to help and guide people through tough times. That's kind of like, that's their pretty deal. You look at one guy and his 12 best friends changed the world for all eternity. And, just, I'm going to talk about that in a moment, actually. So moving on to the next one, Productize. In times of crisis, solutions soar, and a lot of times services suffer and services stumble, service-based businesses. Now, if you are a service business, consultant, agency, this doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a tough time. It simply means that productization can be an extremely effective way in order to make the selling process easier. Whenever everybody goes into crisis mode, we keep our hands on our back pocket where our wallet is a little bit tighter, and we start looking over our back shoulder, and it becomes more difficult. Now, there's no question that the sales process then becomes more difficult. In order to combat that, you need to make the sales process as frictionless as humanly possible. So if you're in a service business, I highly recommend that you start to productize your services. We have lots of recommendations on how to go about doing that through our blog, and I'm sure if you Google anything related to how do I productize my service business, there is literally pages upon pages of great information on how you go about doing that. For example, it might just be, instead of kind of doing the typical agency sales process of you come to me, I look at the problem, I'll give you a quote based on my hourly. Instead, you make it a frictionless process like, this is how much X service costs. Are you okay with that? Yes, I'm okay with that. Or you give them 3 different options. This is the one that we recommend to our partners, is that you give people 3 different options of levels of service that they ask for. Maybe it's a retainer service. For $200 a month, you're going to get this service. For $1,000 a month, you get this service. And then by providing 3 options, they're more likely to say yes to at least one of them. So productizing is super important. It is better just in general for all time, but especially in times of crisis, because you want to make that sales process as frictionless as possible. Matt, I see you have a couple of questions in there, and don't worry, we're going to get to those at the end of kind of like my little presentation here. And I see that Louis says hi. Hi, Louis. Welcome to the call. So moving on from productizing, this one's a little bit different. It's not really related to the rest of them, but I think when we go into kind of like these ups and downs of economy and people thinking that, we're going to go bust and all of these things, the stock market's going to crash. It emphasizes, not that any of those are going to happen, by the way, but it emphasizes the value of having what I call hard skills. And I didn't coin that, hard skills, but if you look up hard skills, there's lots of them online. Any trade-based skills like construction or engineering, things that you can do that don't require the internet. If the internet were going to go away tomorrow, what skills would you have to bring to the table that would allow you to continue to provide for your circle of influence and lead people? For me, I have a couple hard skills: carpentry, renovations, drywall, plastering, anything really like home reno related, I'm fairly decent at. And that's the hard skill that I kind of have in my back pocket if, the world were just going to blow up yesterday and I needed to resort to something else to have, essential fallback. I'm never necessarily going to need that skill. However, it provides a certain level of like assurance, and psychologically, it's like you always know that you have those hard skills available to you. So I highly recommend that if you don't have any sort of hard skills training, that maybe while everybody's self-isolated, that might be something to invest some time in on YouTube and learning some of those hard skills and experimenting in your garage or outside or just learning a little bit about more of that process. Don't get me wrong, being an internet professional, a digital marketing professional, a computer science professional are like incredibly valuable skills. But having that reassurance that if all of that technology were to go away, I think is just extremely beneficial. And I am glad that I know those things. And I think that if you have those skills, that's awesome. And you know what? If you have those hard skills, I'd love to hear some of them in the comments section, and you can share those with us. Obviously, in times of crisis, it's helpful to provide services which are needed. We see a lot of certain niches suffering. Restaurants are suffering, and lots of different business, especially restaurants, at least here in Canada, because all of them closed. Bars, anything that like requires public gathering is pretty much suffering right now. So something that would be highly beneficial is offering services in order to help those businesses out of their suffering mentality or out of their suffering situation. Maybe by digitizing them or hooking them up with Uber Eats or getting them for a lot of the conferences. Pretty much every single conference has been canceled. By going to those organizations, providing ways like, hey, listen, we don't necessarily need to have this in person, but we can show you the process of going online, and this is how much it's going to cost you. And also it's what people are actually looking for. And in times like this, it's usually toilet paper, Lysol wipes, and hand sanitizer. But beyond that, which is just, I put in there as a joke, because the shelves in Canada are just like cleaned out. It's pretty crazy. But a lot of people in their self-isolation are turning to self-education, how-to courses, a lot of the popular search term. A lot of the popular search terms right now are how to work from home, how to make money from home, hard skills training, which I mentioned a bit earlier, how to build a WordPress site, how to flip a house, how to create more leads from a business, all things that are popular right now because people are at home with nothing to do. So providing them with the education that they need in order to continue to provide for their families is highly relevant right now. And if you have knowledge that would help kind of your regular Joe Blow person who just got laid off from the restaurant, would help that person figure out, all right, well, how do I turn the skills that I have into something that other people would value without having to go out and do so? If you have that knowledge, I think you have actually like a moral obligation to share that knowledge with said person. Now, you can do that at any price point you want, but I think there was a moral obligation to share that knowledge with other people by throwing a course site together. It doesn't have to be good, or maybe putting a YouTube video together and sharing that valuable information. And people, especially right now, and it's kind of baked into the name of this session, is people are looking for certainty. They want to be able to grab something and say, this is a guarantee, or this is certain, or this makes me feel comfortable, this makes me feel okay. And people will join tribes that offer certainty. We see this happen with the church and Church of All Faiths. It's a great example of how an institution can grow during times of crisis. Not everybody is as religious. So you can be your own church. You can offer a place for your tribe to congregate, and you can provide them with assurances and certainty that you're all going to get through this together by employing the strategies that you can come up with, and providing this group of people a level of, hey, listen, it's going to be okay. That's what the church does. They provide assurances and certainties that, hey, listen, there's a plan, and these are the steps, and we're all going to get through this okay together. That's why those institutions grow. And I think that there is an opportunity for those of us who don't necessarily subscribe to the good book, as it were, to provide a place for other people to join those congregations as well. So those are a few of my thoughts on the overall how to provide certainty in uncertain times. I'm just going to quickly go over them. For those of us who are joining late, how do we create certainty in uncertain times? First of all, if you're a small business owner, you have a tribe, you absolutely have an obligation to stay on mission. Don't pivot. Keep on mission for whatever that is. It's helping small businesses. It's helping other people succeed. It's teaching people how to the ukulele. Whatever it is, you have to stay on mission and ensure that you keep up with that. You have to be a source of stability for your tribe, their emotional anchor, as it were. They will look to you for guidance in these times. Check on your neighbors. Your leadership in your business community and in your professional tribe can also leak into your personal life, and you can become a personal leader as well in order to ensure that your friends and your family are all okay. When we're all okay, then things tend to work out better than if it's just I'm okay and my neighbor's not. A lot of changes happen in technology. It is extremely important as ever to own your platform and prevent as much reliance on other platforms that might change on a whim. We see Amazon totally stopping fulfilled by Amazon deliveries and banning certain merchants from selling certain products. All goes to show that you should absolutely have your own platform, whether it's on WordPress or some other thing. Just super, super, super important. Productize, for those of us in service businesses, is incredibly important to provide solutions and not services. People will look for solutions in times of crisis, and they're going to be looking for the quick fix. There's no such thing as a quick fix. But by making the purchase process as frictionless as possible, by productizing, you will increase your chances of continuing through kind of like an economic downturn. Having hard skills is not necessarily necessary, but it will provide you with a certain level of psychological kind of like confidence that, hey, listen, if the internet were to turn off tomorrow, I'm going to be okay because I have this set of skills and will continue to be able to provide for my family. I highly recommend that if you're self-quarantined, you look up some hard skills training online. It's all readily available, and you'll be able to have that in your back pocket for the rest of life, even if you never use it. So it helps to provide needed services. There's lots of services that people are currently looking for. They're all from home, so online services in terms of like training is all great. How to work from home, how to make money from home. If you have skills that people who are currently being pushed out of the workforce because of being self-quarantined, and you have skills that would help them transfer to some sort of online economic factor, then that is something that is incredibly important. For example, if there is, let's say, a staff member of a restaurant that was recently laid off, maybe they're a server, how to go from server to X online profession would be something that would certainly be I think, in my opinion, or at least in my opinion, extremely valuable for those people who are currently not able to work in restaurants because of these changes. And finally, they're looking for certainty. Be the church. A lot of people don't subscribe to religion, and you can provide a way for people to congregate and share similar values and look for assurances in each other, and you can provide that community. They did it 2,000 years ago, and people are doing it every day in smaller forms. All right, so that's kind of my spiel on the whole situation. I will now go to the comments section. Thank you, Michael. I am now going to go to the comments section. We're going to talk actually about Groundhogg now and Groundhogg strategies and all of that good stuff. So thank you for sticking with me so far. All right. I just have a couple comments I have a lot of comments from John. Thank you for being so active, John. Let's see. The hard conferences were canceled and all being moved to the internet. Yeah, so that's something, all basically large congregations of people have been totally canceled. If you can provide a service that helps those kind of maybe smaller hard conferences or smaller hard events or in-person events go digital, that would be extremely valuable at this time. John says the word church comes from the definition of a mob. It's assembly of people called to a cause. So basically calling other things churches is historically accurate. Well, there you go. Be the church. Being able to pivot keeps no options from being a distraction. I think my brain is just fried at this point, so I don't quite understand what's going on there. But let's talk about some questions. Okay, so I have a couple of questions from Matt. And Matt asks, do I need to confirm an email address before being able to send emails to this email address? Will using a different domain name based email affect deliverability? So you need to, this is the administration email, Matt. No, you do not need to confirm the administration email. Emails are only checked for their confirmation status if the email is coming from Groundhogg. Any other emails won't be checked. WooCommerce emails, Live4LS emails, or any other plugin emails won't be checked. Only emails coming from Groundhogg will be checked as to their marketable status. So you don't need to worry about that, Matt. And second question from Matt is asking for the email address, the default from email address, do I have to match the domain name? No, you do not. So if you do not need to send email from the domain name of the site that Groundhogg is installed on. What this means is, let me load up my test site here. There we go. Settings, email. So the question is, does the default from email address have to be the same as the domain name? And no, it does not. I would recommend keeping your domain name consistent for all of the email, and I would recommend using the same domain name as the from email address. The reason being is if people sign up on said email or on said domain, they're going to expect the email to come from that domain, and if they see it come from a different domain, or at least one that looks a lot different, it's just spam immediately. So I would recommend, if possible, using the same domain name to send email as the one that people register on. It allows for continuity and will prevent people from marking it as spam. Even if it's a little different, like maybe it's just like the difference between, groundhog.io or groundhogmail.io, not a huge deal, but having vastly different domain names, I would not recommend. So hopefully, Matt, that answers your question. Let's see. Oh, so Matt means confirm via AWS. So Matt, if you need to confirm, if you have AWS installed for Groundhogg, meaning this awesome plugin right here, then you need to confirm all of the email addresses through AWS that will be sending from this domain, or at least the domains that you'll be sending from. Yes. So you don't need to confirm like a contact record in Groundhogg, but you absolutely need to confirm all of them through AWS, or else they will not be able to send, because AWS will send all of the emails from WordPress through that platform. So yes, you do need to confirm and validate all of the emails, addresses, as well as all of the domains through AWS in order to send those emails from your website. So Matt, sorry for the confusion there. Yes, you do. John asks, is there a way to get SendWP to deliver from our domain? Yes, there is. You have to add your SPF record. And there is instructions on how to do that on the SendWP site. So if I log in here, and I go to the Need Help section, there is a question here called, why do my emails say they're being sent via FeedBlitz? If you add your SPF, or if you modify your SPF record to include SendWP, your emails will be able to actually be sent from your domain. So just go ahead and take this step, and you should be able to send emails from your actual domain, John. So that is how you do that. Griffin asks, would love to move away from ActiveCampaign, but I use their CRM as well, and I worry about moving our 100,000+ subscriber list to a platform that may not have same uptime, delivery, and reporting as AC. Well, Griffin, we actually have a customer using it for 380,000 people at the moment, so you're about a third of that, and we have another customer using it for a list of 175,000 as well. So your 100,000 should be okay. We actually have an article that I wrote recently about the speed and stuff that you have to take into consideration when operating at that kind of level. So I'm going to link that article here, and it is in the FAQs and how fast are my emails sent. I'm just going to reply to that. Boom. So Griffin, you can take a look at that article, and this might answer a few of your questions about how long emails take to send and reporting and stuff. But I mean, in terms of uptime, deliverability, and reporting, we're working on. I actually mentioned that a little bit earlier. If I go up, we are creating an all new and improved dashboard that is going to have a significantly improved reporting experience over the current one. In terms of uptime, it'll be as up as your host is up. It's self-hosted software, so as long as you're up, then Groundhogg will be up, and that's part of the things that you take responsibility on while self-hosting software. We actually wrote another article about this on the blog this time, about the kind of advantages of self-hosting and the disadvantages, and I feel like I was pretty fair about it. Let's see, self-hosting versus, where is it? Oh, is it on page 2? Yes, it is. Copy link. So have a look at this article, Griffin. I think it's pretty valuable, and it walks you through some of the differences between self-hosting and software as a service in terms of uptime, deliverability. Deliverability is mostly dependent on the email provider that you use. I use AWS SES as my provider, and it works pretty freaking awesome. In terms of deliverability, we have a pretty significantly high deliverability rate, as well as open rates, click-through rates, etc. So I would take a look at this, and it'll answer most of the questions that you have about SaaS versus self-hosted. Okay, Joe, I lost my page here. Let's go back. Beautiful. John asks, I would like to be able to see some of these charts outside the edit UI of things. John, you're going to have to qualify what you mean by these charts. Not sure if you're referring again to the new reporting. We're working on improving the reporting UI right now. We've actually been working on it for a couple of weeks at this point, and we're getting pretty close to kind of some sort of like workable beta product, and we're going to be excited to deliver that probably within the next couple months. So you can look forward to that, John, if your question is simply about this. If you're referring to the funnel reporting, we're also working on moving the funnel reporting to this kind of layout as well. Again, significantly improved upon what it is previously. You have to click on the reporting toggle and stuff like that. We actually took that UI inspiration from other software that I used to work with a lot, and it's not the best. So we're working on improving that as well and putting it in this sort of context. So if that is what your question is about, John, hopefully that answers it. Let's talk about, I'm not seeing any new questions come in. Okay, yeah, so John, that does answer your question. Awesome. Great. Okay, so we're about at the 32-minute mark. We usually hold these sessions in between 30 minutes and 45 minutes. So if nobody else has any questions, I think we're going to start at least going to the tail end of this session. So I'm going to give it a few more minutes for any questions that people have. And this can be related to our main topic, which was creating certainty in uncertain times. We can also talk about marketing strategies. We can talk about funnel issues. Kurt has a question about the Superlink. And Kurt, I know you emailed me about this, and I saw it, but I was in the middle of a flow, and I did not respond, and I am sorry about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that, Kurt, right now. Let's do that. Okay, so let's talk about the Superlinks. So Superlinks are an awesome feature where you click a link and it will redirect you to somewhere, and it will also apply the tag at the same time. These Superlinks are available within the Advanced Features extension, which is this one right here, which also includes the advanced email editor and a ton of other cool features as well. So let's jump into our plugin or our site here, and I'm going to have to activate it. Is it here? It is. Beautiful. Okay, so once you have the Advanced Features extension installed, you are going to go to the Groundhogg menu, and then there's actually a tab for Superlinks. And what you're going to do is you're just going to give it a name. I have one, for example, called Facebook Group. And then I am going to set the target URL as my Facebook group on Facebook, so that people will be redirected to Facebook whenever, or the Facebook group whenever they click this link. And I am going to add a tag of Facebook group and then add a new Superlink. And now what's going to happen is anytime anybody clicks this link in an email, on the site, anywhere, they will get this tag or the Facebook tag when they do so. And if you can see that if I go to this link, there I am. Just like that, goes to the Facebook page. So super easy, super convenient, and it's a great little nifty feature for doing some quick stuff. So hopefully, Kurt, that answers your question that you had brought up to me last week. And if you have any other follow-up questions, now is definitely the time to ask. I have another question. Any preference or suggestions for social plugins, UltimateMember or BuddyBoss, for example? I don't use a whole lot of the social WordPress plugins. I prefer to just use Facebook because I don't have to set it up and I don't really have to worry about it. I know I just went on a whole tangent about owning your own platform, but there is also, you have to couple that with, okay, what is my exposure? What is my risk? And I don't risk a lot by being on Facebook. All to say, no, I don't really have a preference. I know a lot of people are swooning over BuddyBoss right now, and I've seen some of their stuff. And I've seen a lot of the things that they're able to do in terms of, integrations with LearnDash and Lifter LMS and providing kind of this beautiful user experience and all of that. So, I mean, just based on what I've seen, I would have to recommend BuddyBoss because that's really the only one I know about. I don't really know a whole lot about UltimateMember, but that's kind of just my initial thought. There is also I think there is also a free BuddyBoss theme, or is it the theme that's premium? And one aspect of BuddyBoss is actually free, so I think your overall investment will be less with them, although I don't really know a whole lot about it in order to guarantee that. But just from what I'm informed of, my decision would be probably BuddyBoss over UltimateMember. Hopefully that helps in some facet. Jonathan asks, have you got any plans to expand the white label side of Groundhogg? Well, that kind of depends on the needs of customers. So currently the white label plugin that we have, or the white label offering that we have, is sufficient for the use that people are using it for. Is there any particular thing that you would like white label that is not currently, or any additional functionality that you're requiring from the white label, our white label offering? Because that's currently, as far as we're aware, it does what it needs to do. But if it's not doing something for you, then you need to let us know that. The platform, going back to the BuddyBoss conversation for a moment, the platform is free, the theme is paid for. That makes sense. So you can, what I would do is you can test BuddyBoss out and see if it's for you with one of the themes, with any theme, and then you can invest in the BuddyBoss Pro theme. I've seen the theme and videos of the theme, and it looks pretty freaking slick. So, yeah, that's. I saw the BuddyBoss do a webinar with Lifter LMS, and their integration is pretty tight. So, I saw that. Matt asks, can there be an integration between QuickBooks Online and Groundhogg? I mean, there could be. We don't have one, and I don't see. Yeah, that's tough. What I'll share with you what we do. So our we use several payment providers. We have PayPal and Stripe, and we integrate QuickBooks with those platforms and not with WordPress directly. Whenever referring, there's a thing that I call source of truth, and it's important to have a single source of truth whenever you're dealing with finances, because that's what the government cares about. For us, our source of truth is PayPal and Stripe, not our WordPress website. So we integrate QuickBooks with those platforms directly, and we actually make changes on our WordPress website depending on what we see in QuickBooks, because we can check if it's paid, unpaid, and then make any modifications we need to, or in terms of revoking or canceling payments. So that's how we currently have our stuff. We don't integrate QuickBooks directly with Groundhogg or WordPress or Easy to Downloads, which is our e-commerce solution. Expanding on that, for instance, if a prospect converts to a customer for an IT company, maybe that's a WP Fusion or a Zapier question. The scope of functionality for a direct Groundhogg to QuickBooks integration, just from my knowledge of both platforms, seems pretty limited, and it would be very, very niche. So what you can do, though, is we have a brand new feature request form. So let's see if I can open that. Let's grab it here. So you are welcome, Matt, to request an integration. However, you'd have to expand and elaborate on the scope that integration would actually offer. Maybe what you do is you do from Groundhogg to Zapier to QuickBooks. That probably exists in some sort of facet already. But that scope of a direct integration seems limited to me. But you are welcome to elaborate and build on that request. I've linked the feature request form in the chat there for you. Alain, is it Picard? Because that's an awesome last name, and I envy you, Alain. Alain Picard. Are you related to my favorite Star Trek captain? I mean, I know you're not, but it's a great name regardless. Greenback, automatically fetch sales and expense transactions from top retailers, payment platforms, and sellers. I think I don't. So this is in relation to the QuickBooks conversation for anybody following. I don't know. I've never heard of this company, but it may be something to look into. But I will just say, Elaine, are you enjoying the new Picard series? Because I don't have cable. Because I have to watch it on reruns on my. I go to my parents are recording it for me, so I have to go over every once in a while, and catch up and binge it. But yeah, great last name. I love it. Matt says, thanks. You're welcome, Matt. Hopefully that was helpful in some sort of way for you. Okay, let's start. We're 43 minutes in, and we usually have 45 minutes. So I'm going to start wrapping up. I want to thank everybody who took the time to spend the last 45 minutes with me. I know it's a lot to ask. I know we're all incredibly busy over the last couple weeks, and we're all kind of freaked out. And I get it, and it's totally fair. But you can always count on our team to be here and have your back when things like this happen. I am fortunate to have a very, very close team, and we're all very, very dedicated in order to ensuring all of your success. And we'll all get through this together, and I have no doubt that in a couple months, most of this will blow over. Businesses are going to start seeing their numbers climb again. Service businesses will be back in the black and all of that good stuff. So stick around. We're not going anywhere. Everything's going to turn out just fine. Resources. Let's talk about continuing education. Go to academy.groundhogg.io. We have a quick start course. This office hours will be recorded and posted there. We have a course creators course, which I think is now more important than ever. If you have knowledge that is not yet digitized and is not being sold as a product, that is something that you can do right now in order to kind of like keep the numbers coming in. If you need implementation help, we have a list of certified partners available. And these certified partners are trained in Groundhogg and are currently dedicated to ensuring our customer success. Go to our certified partner directory where you can reach out to a partner directly, or you can send us a message and we'll actually share your requirements with our list of partners, and then they can request a meeting with you. Lots of ways to get in touch. So if you want someone to help you in your Groundhogg implementation, then that is a road you can go down. Also, if you think that someone would benefit, a colleague, maybe a family member or a like-minded business owner would benefit from having Groundhogg on their team, then you can go to our affiliate registration, and for anything or any subscription that you purchase, or that they purchase rather, you will be rewarded for such. And I think Groundhogg now more than ever is an incredibly important tool, being part of the self-hosted family, being part of owning your platform, as well as being able to communicate with your tribe. Communication in times like these is just incredibly so important. And being able to reach out to your list in a timely and effective manner is now more important than ever. So if you have someone who is in need of a communication tool, then you can have them reach out to us, and if they decide to invest, then you can be rewarded for that. Follow us. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. All of our office hours are posted to YouTube as well as to our academy, so you can follow up on office hours there as well. So make sure that you're following us on all of those platforms. If you leave a review, I'm going to be eternally grateful. More reviews means more customers, means more developers, means more features that you want and love faster. All good things. I think it's hard to disagree with that. Please go to our WordPress.org repository page and leave us a 5-star review. We're currently at 46. It'd be awesome if we could get to 50. I think that's just like such a lovely round number. And if you could help us get there, I'd be just eternally grateful. If you have more questions and you weren't able to ask your question, or your question wasn't answered entirely during this session, that's what a Facebook group is for. You're welcome to post your question there. Myself or a team member or someone in the community is going to respond to you and make sure that you get an answer. You can reach out to us at GroundhoggWP on both Facebook and Twitter. We have live chat. We have advanced support. We have so many ways that you can get in touch with us. So please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you, everybody. I hope this was informative. I hope this provided you with some assurances and a level of confidence. I hope that you were able to learn something and take something valuable away from this session. I really thought it was important to cover some of the things we talked about, and I'm sure that we'll be talking about it more into the next couple weeks and providing strategies that you can employ in order to make sure that you, your family, and your business kind of gets through this. So thank you for your time, everybody. If you have any questions, reach out, and everybody have a wonderful and safe day.